Motion on the Rocks. Coming back to you guys with another one. Recognizing the Game. Episode 47. Black Flag. La Familia. La Tu Sabes. You know what it is. So this is Semen Retention and the Authentic Self Part 6. And what I have been talking about is that ultimately it's about a change in your self-image. You're stepping away from just the mental aspect and the material, physical aspect, and going into that part of yourself that is non-physical, which is an energy. Going through a breakup and things like that can make you more conscientious of your energy, the type of people that you allow into your space, and the importance of establishing boundaries. Because the homie of mine that I was having a conversation with has pretty much been the gist of these videos with him and my brother and a number of guys that I've been working with. We'll find ourselves in positions where, and this happens to a lot of guys at a younger age and even older, who just don't have the right leadership when it comes to relationships and how they should carry themselves as a man, where you're in that first long-term relationship. And of course, when I went through my experience, this wasn't my first long-term relationship. This was maybe my second or third one at the time. But mine took on a different note in this particular situation because of the type of person that I was dealing with. But one thing about it and being authentic is that too many of us sacrifice ourselves for the gratification of another, for the love and validation. And you shouldn't have to go through all of that in order to get a person to see your value and view you as having meaning in their life. And this goes for men and women. And when you find yourself on the receiving end of a breakup and you're trying to make the situation other than what it is, and you're not standing back and looking at things logically and going within yourself, you end up wasting precious time and energy and hurting yourself in the long run, because your attachment to this person ultimately keeps you from seeing the fact that you need to step back and go inward. You need to focus on yourself. And we can lose ourselves into those relationships and forget who we are because of the sexual attachment, ego attachment, and all of the things that we perceive in our mind. It's a shot to us as men, but it's necessary in our development to becoming men, mature men. It's a shot to our ego, because when a woman breaks up with us, it makes us feel less than. It makes us feel inferior. And we get into this frame of mind where I gotta have her. I gotta get her back. Thoughts can run into your mind like, oh, and a lot of them are fear-based and they're ego-based. And you won't realize the real reason you want to get back with her is not based on anything that is grounded in reality. It's all fear. It's rooted in fear and a false self-image. And you have pretty much made this person a basis for which you understand yourself. So you're understanding yourself from their eyes. And this is what I mean by losing sight of yourself, losing the ability to recognize who you are from your own true sense of self. If they haven't given you a clear indication as to why they no longer want to be in a relationship with you, then you could be running through all of these scenarios in your head and conjuring up reasons if you're not aware of it. And they may not necessarily be the reason that she broke up with you, but it can keep you in a rat race of being at war with your own mind. This cat and mouse chase to try to get their validation, when in the end, you're only going to subjugate yourself to being manipulated and disrespected, because you chasing a woman and trying to get her back into a relationship with you is you being more in your feminine energy. But it's a lack of being grounded in yourself, and you're on the opposing spectrum of your own masculine energy. That's not something that a person who knows who they are and is in alignment with themselves, you wouldn't go to those lengths to the point where you're going against your own morals and ethics just to get that person back. And that's not authenticity. Saying and doing anything just so that they would feel a certain way about you. You buying her flowers and buying her gifts so she will like you. That's conditioned. That's not being authentic. Authenticity is based on an understanding reflexive of who you are as an individual, spiritual in basis. So when a guy can step back and look at a breakup and see things that didn't work, hold himself accountable, hold her accountable, and get out of that place of thinking that they were perfect and didn't do anything wrong. And don't settle for being a friend. Fuck that. Don't settle for being a friend with anybody just because you're afraid of how they may view you or you're afraid of losing that person. Some relationships you can't get back. Some relationships, they are invaluable. And so if you're dealing with a girl and she doesn't want to see your value, you have to get to a point. Okay, all right. It's not worth everything you're putting yourself through to get this woman, to get this person. It's not worth it. It's not worth it if you can see that. Just think about it. You're calling her, you're texting her, you're hawking her on social media, and I'll be talking about this more in the next video and breaking things down, but it's all going towards a bigger picture of things. And this is what I mean by recognizing the game. Love. Salud.